Coming up on this special Art Beat edition of Arizona Horizon, we'll look at efforts to increase arts education in state schools. We'll hear about a unique way to fund art projects, and we'll learn about a singing competition that promotes vocal health. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the special Art Beat edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. We start with a report on arts education. An update to the 2010 census on access to arts education in Arizona shows that the number of students without arts instruction has declined. But over 100,000 Arizona students still lack access to arts instruction by a highly qualified arts teacher. We talked about the report with Alexandra Nelson, Director of Arts Learning for the Arizona Commission on the Arts, and Sally Stewart of the State Department of Education. Both organizations teamed up on the report. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so this study, what exactly were you looking at and what exactly did you find?
Sure. So this study, as you said, is the second in a series. So it's a partial update to that 2010 census. And specifically, it's an analysis of the department's highly qualified teacher database. So it's showing us students who have access to instruction in arts education provided by a highly qualified teacher. We did find, as you mentioned, that the percentage of students with access is up slightly since 2009. And this was really important for our agencies to know, 5 years later, how had arts education fared through the recession? So that was good news. But the report does show that there is still a gap between policy and practice, and we do still have some work to do to ensure that there's equity around arts education.
And it looked like it was maybe a 2% increase in 5 years for public schools and a considerable increase in charter students, although I think it's still just slightly above average. What happened? Was there an added emphasis on this, or did it just happen organically?
Well, I think, Ted, the really important thing is that we have to really applaud the efforts of teachers and schools and administrators to really support continuing arts education during such difficult budgetary times. I think that was one of the key things about the numbers. The other thing I think is that community partners and art programs have joined together, much like our organizations have joined together to continue that support. Our Department of Education brings services and support to our local schools and teachers and education community. That's really our job. So we were there to support them as well.
Has there been, there's a lot of emphasis on testing, a lot of emphasis on STEM, a lot of emphasis on certain things, maybe not so much arts over the years. Has that now been recognized and folks are starting to realize that an arts education is a good education?
Well, I know I do.
Yes.
So, I think that we are really seeing that all content matters, all learning matters for students. And so we know that math and language arts and sciences and social studies, sports and the arts all provide a different way in for different students to be motivated in their education. So it's really vital that students have access to the arts, because for some students, that is the hook that keeps them in school. And we are definitely seeing a lot more attention being paid to that.
Creativity, teamwork, entrepreneurship, these sorts of things, arts education can help, can it not?
Absolutely, it definitely can help. And I think especially with the organizations that provide that for the community. Alex and I are joined on a couple of really exciting programs, because one of the things that the study showed was that in areas where there are smaller schools or in rural locations, students have less access to arts education. So how do we bring those programs to those students? Well, one of the ways is through a program called Arts to Go, which provides professional development for teachers online. And that program is done with local arts organizations like Arizona Opera. That program is going to start in January.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned rural schools and smaller schools maybe not doing as well as you'd like to see. What grade levels are doing best and maybe need some help?
Well, that varies by discipline sometimes. Each discipline we'll see grade levels that have different kinds of access, and that's for a variety of different reasons. But what we know is that access doesn't tell the full story. There are also additional resources and capital that need to be in place to ensure that all grade levels are receiving the same amount of support.
And and I know that the survey talked about access to by highly qualified teachers, and I think highly qualified teachers was the exact wording. What does that mean? What separates an okay teacher from a highly qualified arts teacher?
Well, I think there's a couple of different definitions. There's highly qualified teachers as well as content specialists in arts education. So those are two things we're looking at, and it's teachers that have achieved a certain level of teacher qualifications, and that's what we were measuring in this particular study. But there are teachers who are providing arts education outside of the database. There's 3,100 teachers, though, in this group of teachers that have been compiled in this database, covers more than 1,800 schools in Arizona and more than 1 million students.
So the good thing is the access to an arts education has increased somewhat. The not so good news is it could increase more, correct?
Absolutely. And I'll just go back to that point that we know that anecdotally the dollar amount that's being spent in curricular support for arts education has not increased since we did the full 2009-2010 census. So again, going back to the idea of additional capital and support for the teachers that are in these classrooms, that is one area where we know we still need some improvement.
And Ted, I would like to point out as well that this information is available for parents and students. So they can go online and look at the arts programs that are available and where they're located and decide what they want to do in terms of choice of school.
And that's with azarts.gov, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff
Oh,
after
there's
that.
a whole bunch of stuff after that.
We actually have a short one.
Oh, you do?
azarts.gov/2014 AZ Arts Ed Census.
That's the short one, huh? Well, I hate to see the long one. All right, so I guess the idea then is further improvement can be had. And again, you're talking 89%. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's good, but we would like to see better.
And your best idea you have for seeing better? Number one thing you'd like to see?
Well, I am fortunate that we have such great partners in the Department of Education, and Sally mentioned the Arts to Go program, and we also have a program called Strengthening Schools Through Arts Partnerships, which is a grant program that connects Arizona D-level schools, so schools that are really under-resourced and low-performing, with arts organizations in their community to develop arts education programming that specifically addresses their school improvement plan. So from the point of view of the Arts Commission, that sequential arts education taught by a highly qualified arts teacher is vital, and then the combination of community resources and support is how we can make improvements for the future.
All right, very good. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We now look at a unique way to fund arts projects. Arizona Art Tank makes strategic investments in arts-based ventures through seed money awarded to applicants who successfully pitch their ideas in regional competitions. We learn more about Arizona Art Tank from Robert Booker, Executive Director of the Arizona Commission on the Arts. It's good to see you again.
Great to be with you today.
Let's talk about Arizona Art Tank. What in the heck are we talking about?
Arizona Art Tank, think of Shark Tank. Think of a competition where organizations come and pitch their best ideas. We wanted to help arts organizations across the state really break the barrier that they'd been in before, kind of a barrier of business as usual, trying to survive after the economic downturn. And so we created this program to really lift up those organizations and those ideas specifically that are entrepreneurial, that are beyond the box, that help provide access to our residents, provide economic development, all of the good things that the arts provide, but with a new twist on it, a new sort of energetic outlook.
So these folks come to this, they had like 4 regional competitions around the state?
4 regional competitions. This year we're in Flagstaff, we're in Bisbee, we're in Chandler, and we're in Peoria. There's a panel made up of local arts leaders, entrepreneurs, business leaders, legislators, and each organization has 6 minutes to make their pitch. And it is incredible to watch. Last year we had a lot of fun and a lot of success with organizations that really pitch their idea in an entrepreneurial, creative way.
Give us an example of an idea and give us an example of how that idea is pitched.
One of my favorite one was Tumble Tees is a brand name of T-shirts that is produced by an organization called Tumbleweed Center for Youth Development. This is a group that works with homeless teenage kids. They wanted to develop a program where they could earn revenue to support the work of the organization and teach the kids skills. So they brought together entrepreneurs, they brought together someone that understood small business, they brought an artist into the play, they brought a printmaker into the play, and someone that knows sales. And throughout the process, they have created a program where the kids actually design, print, and market a line of really pretty cool T-shirts. Now, what they did in their presentation, they had a great guy talking about, well, one, talking about being homeless and what that means to a kid, a teenager. And then he talked about being with this center and meeting other kids. And then as he's talking, there's a guy in the background who is actually printing a T-shirt.
Ah, okay.
And so at the finale, at 6 minutes,
Yeah.
they hold up the T-shirt, and it was this sort of visual representation of their goal. And they were a very exciting, very positive group.
Okay, and that's a winner. And
Yes.
that winner gets seed money up to $10,000?
Up to $10,000. That group got $10,000. And it launched their program, which is now underway. And it's a program that not only generates some revenue for the organization, but as I said, trains kids in small business, arts, production, printing.
And where does the money come from?
The money comes from our budget at the Arizona Commission on the Arts. A year ago, 2 years ago actually, for the last 2 years, we've received funding from the Rainy Day Fund. We received $1 million from that fund, and those dollars have gone into programs that provide access for Arizonans, specifically with a focus towards education and economic development. And we took some of those dollars out and created 2 brand new programs, this being one of them. We know that the arts community is innovative. We know that it's a creative community. But we really wanted to give them the opportunity to shine and really show off how creative and how entrepreneurial they really are.
Applications for 2015 for that particular art tank, those
Those are
deadlines
closed,
right?
and art tanks are starting to happen. They will start to happen on January 12th.
So if someone's watching it though and they're saying, all right, I got out, it didn't make it for 2015, let's try for 2016, what do they need to know? Where do they need to go?
They can go to our website and get all the information about how to apply. Organizations apply with their idea, they're reviewed by a panel, and 8 to 10 organizations are chosen to actually give that presentation.
Are there organizations, are there ideas, ventures that are more appropriate than others? Who does well in these sorts of things?
Well, anybody can do well. I think what's exciting is that it helps organizations also gain an ability to talk about their own work to people that they maybe don't know. So we all talk about that elevator speech, that sort of need to express what you do in a short amount of time. It's one of those programs that builds that skill with organizations. It's also our hope that we have a large audience. We have about 150 folks attending these events. This year we're sponsored by APS, and APS will be giving out the community awards. So that audience actually gets to vote for their favorite art tank competitor, and they will get the APS Innovation Award. So it is an exciting program, and we're looking forward to it again.
I mentioned Rainy Day Fund. That's how originally this thing got started.
Yes.
Funding concerns with this and other aspects?
You bet. Funding concerns facing the economy has not quite recovered yet. So we're seeing our nonprofit arts organizations continue to struggle a bit, but actually they're doing pretty good. We're seeing them get back in the play, expanding their programs for young people. You know, we're a $500 million economic driver in the state, so we're an important element of the state's economy, we're an important element of the state's education. But this year is going to be tough at the legislature. We need, at the very least, that $1 million to continue from any source, and we're actually looking for a little bit larger. We're looking for a $2 million increase. That's been our official ask.
Is that something that so far when you talk to, you talk about the $500 million engine, do they understand that, or is that something that is over here and the budget is facing you right here?
Well, I was excited. I was in a meeting with candidate Ducey, and he talked about the importance of the economic driver of the arts to Arizona. So as a businessman, he truly understands that the arts provide economic incentive and provide economic resources. It was also nice to hear him talk about the value of arts education in our public schools, which is something we've talked about before. So to hear the governor understand and talk about economic development through the arts and the importance of education in the lives of our K through 12 kids, to me, is an amazing sign as we move forward into this session.
Last question, real quickly. They say sometimes during the worst of times you get the best of art. You notice any of that? Does that ring true?
That's sort of the old starving, the old abused
There
artist
you go.
sort of
Yeah.
theory. I don't know. I think in the best of times and the worst of times, you get great art. It's a matter of growing those artists and keeping those artists in our state.
All right. Well, good luck with the art tank this year. We're anxious to hear who won and who got the seed money. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining
Thank you,
us.
sir. Good to see you.
Expand your horizon with the Arizona Horizon website. To get there, go to azpbs.org. Click on the Arizona Horizon tab at the top of the screen. Once there, you can access many features, watch interviews by clicking on the video button. You can also find out what's on Arizona Horizon for the coming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or want to buy a video, that's all on the website too. Want to learn about specific topics like immigration or the legislature? You can visit our special web sections. Show your support for Arizona Horizon at azpbs.org/Arizona Horizon.
Our Art Beat special wraps up with a look back at the first ever Southwest Vocal Competition. The event offered singers a chance to perform with the Phoenix Opera Orchestra at the Orpheum Theater. The competition was also a vocal health education effort on the part of the Mayo Clinic's voice department. Gail Massaro is the co-founder and creative director of the Phoenix Opera, and Dr. David Lott is from the Mayo Voice Department. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Gail, the Southwest Vocal Competition. What are we talking about here?
Well, I am thrilled to be here, but I'm excited and I'm exhilarated and I'm exhausted because we had first rounds 1 and 2 this past weekend at Mayo in their Taylor Auditorium, and we had singers from virtually every corner of the state competing. Nothing like this has ever existed in our state. And the purpose is to discover and feature and foster and nurture the talent that we have here, which is extraordinary. It will culminate in a finals concert February 8th at the Orpheum Theater with the Phoenix Opera Orchestra, and 3 international judges are coming in. You know, it's a little bit like an American Idol situation. Each singer will sing 2 arias with the orchestra, 70-piece orchestra on stage. And like American Idol, but it won't take a year to find out who's going to be the winner. Everything will be done that night. And the judges are a New York agent, someone who runs one of the best opera companies in the country, the Milwaukee Florentine Opera, and an international superstar from the Deutsche Oper Berlin. This is a life-changing, career-launching opportunity for one of our very own right here from Arizona.
All right, got the competition down there. I got more questions for you,
Okay.
though. But where does vocal health come into all this?
Absolutely. Well, as a physician, the important part for us is not just treating problems when they arise, but actually prevention. And that's a big part of Mayo's program in general. It's not only take care of patients, but also the preventative medicine, the education, and really vocal health in general. And you know, as a broadcaster, you understand the vital role that your voice has, not only in your personal life, but as your career. And if you're setting your career as a professional singer or a broadcaster, or preacher, whatever it is, when your voice goes, your livelihood goes, and that's a big problem.
So would you suggest that people that are into opera, classical music, maybe, and any form of music, broadcast, just aren't aware of some of these preventative measures?
Absolutely, yep. And that's the big reason why we wanted to partner with the Phoenix Opera, is to try to get that word out that not only can we help you if you have a problem, but it's so much more important to prevent these problems before they begin.
So everything from not doing this to taking that and these sorts of things?
Correctly, exactly. So as part of the competition from this weekend, we actually had different education sessions throughout the day at different breaks. And some of that were some of the myth busters, do I drink honey when I have a
Yes.
sore throat, or some of the things that we tell ourselves that may or may not be really true that actually can harm you.
And this is also really important. Of course, my passion is for singing and for the voice, but this is also very important for teachers, for TV personalities, anyone who uses their voice. All kinds of things can happen. Should you speak? Should you sing when you're sick? How to handle it if you do? Those topics were covered, and that's the educational outreach aspect of this.
As far as the competition, back to that for a second here. Who are there age limits? Who competes? How do they even get into the competition?
Okay, this is Arizona's talent. So you have to be in Arizona, ages 21 to 35, because voice has to be of a certain maturity level in order to really sing opera and do opera justice, and have the wherewithal to really be a professional singer. And that's what we're looking for, is talent that we can launch and that we can feature. Phoenix Opera has always been devoted to not only bringing international artists here to Phoenix, but also to nurturing and developing the extraordinary talent that we have right here in our state. So you needed 5 arias. You got to pick. And as a former, as a singer and opera singer myself, I remember those days of competitions. Oh, how many different languages and this and that, all those requirements. We wanted people to do what was in their best interest. Show me your best stuff, strut it. And so they were allowed to pick their 5 arias. They had to live in Arizona, the age requirements, and let's hear what you got.
And obviously, these are accomplished singers. You don't pick someone up off the light rail stop
it was
here.
the talent. I've always been a strong proponent for the talent that we have in the state, but I will tell you, it was spectacular. It superseded all of our expectations, and I want everyone to come to hear this competition. It's not an opera, it's a competition. There will be opera arias, but the point is, every one of the 10 finalists is the home team. Come and root for those singers, make them your own.
And again, these are accomplished singers. These people know what they're doing. They've given their life now, the attention to this particular craft and art, and hopefully for the winners and go forward. Were you surprised that some didn't know certain things about their voice?
No, unfortunately, and that was a big reason why we came to the Phoenix Opera and reached out to them to begin with, was we wanted this partnership because most performers, most people that use their voice professionally don't understand their instrument. And actually, another one of the lectures that one of our other voice therapists gave was knowing your instrument. If you think about someone that plays the clarinet, they can take the clarinet apart, they know all the pieces, they can clean it, they understand how it comes together, but nobody could tell me the parts of the voice box. And that's your instrument, right? And so understanding how the anatomy interplays with the function of the voice box, and then how you can best prepare that to do what it is you need it to do is kind of a blur for a lot of people.
Common misperceptions. What's out there?
Oh, geez. There's quite a few of them. So the concept that you can drink something to make your vocal folds feel better. Well, functionally, that doesn't make any sense, because their job is to close to protect your airway so food doesn't go down or water doesn't go down into your airway. So if you have something that touches your vocal folds, that's when we say, oh, something went down the wrong pipe and you cough violently.
Right.
That's the only way anything ever touches your vocal cords or your vocal folds, is if it goes down the wrong way. So that's probably the biggest misconception.
But also, hydration is so important, especially here in Arizona. But I learned something, that it takes about an hour. You drink something an hour before you really need to be hydrated in order to sing well. You can steam your throat and inhale the steam right down into your throat. I thought that was a little myth that my mother used to tell me, but it's not. It really is true, and that's very important as well. And we did. I don't know, did you bring your scope along? We thought you might like to have yourself scoped on camera, so we can see what your vocal cords look like.
We'll take care of that
That's
after
the
the
encore
show.
for
Yeah,
later,
I
yes.
can't wait for that. And as far as knowing your voice, knowing your instrument, what information do you think all of us, whether we're broadcasters or singers or just out there living our lives and want to have a healthy, what do we need to know?
First thing is listen to your body. You'll know if your voice is starting to change, if it starts to hurt when you speak, or if it fatigues as time goes on. That's the sign that something within that function has gone awry. It shouldn't hurt to speak. It shouldn't hurt for people to hear you speak. And if those types of things are starting to happen, then take a step back and get in early before a problem arises.
All right, well, great information there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Arizona Horizon. You have a great evening.
If you have comments about Arizona Horizon, please contact us at one of the addresses on your screen. Your comments may be used on a future edition of Arizona Horizon. Thank you. Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.